A very good evening, welcome to Premier League Live as we kick off the 2026-27 season here on LFS as the Premier League returns for another campaign. 3 new teams, we lost 3 as well. A new champion in Arsenal looking to defend their crown, and on opening night it is time for the champions to take to the stage. After their Community Shield victory last weekend against Manchester City, they take on the Championship champions Coventry City, who were excellent en route to getting automatic promotion as the winners of the Championship last season under Frank Lampard. So a great opening weekend on the horizon. Let's have a look and see what is to come. So Arsenal Coventry is our opening game of the new season. Saturday lunchtime, Hull, newly promoted Hull welcome Manchester United to the MKM Stadium. It's Everton, Crystal Palace, Ipswich, Sunderland, Nottingham Forest, Leeds, all at 3 o'clock tomorrow. Spurs head to Brentford for a season opener at Brentford for the second time in 3 seasons for Spurs under Roberto De Zerbi. Brighton take on Aston Villa at 2 o'clock on Sunday, along with our feature game as Man City welcome Bournemouth. 2 new managers there. And 2 new managers between Newcastle and Liverpool as well at 4:30 on Sunday at St James's Park. And we conclude on Monday night as a London derby sees another 2 new managers take charge. Fulham and Chelsea's bosses, first games in charge. But we are back. The Premier League is back, and we cannot wait to bring it to you right the way throughout the next 9 months to see who will be Premier League champions once again. It is all to play for at the start of a new campaign. The positivity couldn't be higher for each and every team, and we are ready to get underway. Well, this is how Coventry ended their season last season. Well, the final whistle goes, and the 25-year wait is over. Coventry City are a Premier League team once again for the first time since 2001. Coventry are back in the top flight. They've travelled the roller coaster of the EFL from the Championship, League 1, League 2, and all the way back to the top again. To the Premier League they go. There you have it. That's how it ended for Coventry last season. We'll also show you how Arsenal won the title. We'll talk about that at half-time. We'll also talk about the new managers and the new direction for the Premier League in terms of refereeing, and we'll talk about all of that at half-time. But let's get to the team news. The first set of teams for the new season, starting with the reigning Premier League champions, Arsenal. David Raya starts in goal. A back 4 of Ben White, Christian Mosquera, Gabriel and Ricardo Calafiori start in defence. Declan Rice, who played a hatful of games last season, he starts in defensive midfield along with Miles Lewis-Skelly, who flirted with that role last season but starts the new season in the 6th role. Martin Odegaard is the attacking midfielder in the 10 for Arsenal. Saka on the right. New signing Christos Solis starts on the left. And Kai Havertz leads the Arsenal line for this one this evening. On the bench, Aretha Balaga, Hincapie, Eze, Gyökeres, Madueke, Nwaneri, Marino, Zubamendi and Dauman. Options galore off the bench for Arsenal. We'll talk about 2 of their new signings who aren't involved this evening. For newly promoted Coventry, it is a lot of continuity for Frank Lampard's side from last season. Carl Rushworth continues in goal. Milan Van Ewijk starts at right back. Bobby Thomas, of course, at right centre back. Amenda, the new signing, starts at centre back along with Thomas, and De Silva at left back. Grimes, Onyeka, and Yerenchi are in midfield, with Chuauna on the right hand side. Brandon Thomas Asante out on the left, and leading the line, Ellis Sims through the middle for Coventry City. On the bench, Wilson, Ladabodiere, Kitching, Sakamoto, Eccles, Torp, Rudoni, Hammer and Awonyi. So, 2 teams ready to go for the new season. Both were crowned champions last season. One of the Premier League, one of the Championship. How will they start the new season? The reigning Premier League champions Arsenal take on the Championship champions Coventry at the Emirates to kick off the 2026-27 season of the Premier League here at LFS. Kick-off is next. A very good evening. Thank you very much for joining us on the opening night of the new Premier League season. It has been 94 days in waiting since Arsenal were crowned Premier League champions on the final day just across the capital in South London at Crystal Palace. But now a new campaign begins and a new expectation of retention of the title for Arsenal. Rather than being the ones that are chasing, they are the chase this season. And with so many new managers, 9 to be exact, in their new tenures at their clubs respectively around the league, it is set to be one hell of a dramatic campaign with such unpredictability right the way throughout. So do join us on this journey. It is going to be a big one, and we are off and running for the new Premier League season. We have been waiting for this right the way throughout the summer. When the World Cup concluded, it was all focus on back to the Premier League, back to domestic football at its finest. And how will it unfold on opening night? As Coventry get an early cross in and win the first corner of the game out of Gabriel. So a corner of which Coventry were so strong at last season in scoring. Arsenal the best in probably the world at set-piece conversion. 29 set-piece goals in the Championship last season. Coventry the joint most. Can they get out the Premier League campaign off to the perfect start inside a minute? Corner delivered in with the left foot. Not cleared away by Calafiori. Does get it away the second time of asking. Nicely won by Grimes. Taken in by Thomas Asante, who was just dispossessed by Calafiori. And now Rice allows Arsenal to break out. A very noisy Emirates Stadium. Off the back of North London forever. Being billowed around this stadium. The anthem that catapulted Arsenal to the top. Catapulted them to champion status. Some new faces sprinkled in for the Gunners this season. Some real strengthening. You know, we talk about strengthening from a position of strength, and Arsenal certainly doing that, bringing in Ezri Konsa, Bruno Guimaraes as well, Christos Solis, who starts tonight. Some new faces for Arsenal for the new season, looking to defend their title. Here is the new signing, Christos Solis, and on that left-hand side, lays it inside now to Ben White, who goes back to Mosquera. Of course, Coventry on a 25-year wait to be back in the top flight. Last time they were in the top flight, 2001. And just to put that into context, the team that finished second in the Premier League, Manchester City last season, in 2001, Coventry and Man City were relegated together in that season. Just to put how different the Premier League is 25 years on from the last time Coventry were here. Here's Brandon Thomas Asante, wins the ball back down the left-hand side. And that left side, De Silva back to Grimes, and now back to the new signing, Amenda. Aurela Amenda, the Swiss centre-back, 23 years old, joined from Eintracht Frankfurt. Just over £15 million in the summer. Big money signing for Coventry City. Starting at centre-back. Have a tough job tonight against this Arsenal side. Of course, it wasn't really the goal scoring that built upon Arsenal's title last year. It was how impenetrable they were at the back end, how strong defensively, how solid defensively they were right the way throughout last season. They weren't the most prolific in front of goal. All that mattered was that they got over the line and got the Premier League title. I mean, it goes back to that old saying of, attacks win you games, but defences win you titles. And Arsenal defence certainly won them the title last season. Mosquera trying to bypass the midfield and look for the run of Solis. Well cut out by Bobby Thomas, centre back for Frank Lampard's outfit. And of course, newly promoted Coventry coming here playing a back four. Of course, they will have extra bodies from midfield that will help defensively, but usually we see the newly promoted side switch to a back five, be a bit more defensive. But what we saw last season with Leeds and Sunderland, two of the newly promoted sides that impressed last season, was the fact they adapted their style, but adapted it in a way where it kept the real nature of the way they wanted to play, but also didn't, obviously, give up as many chances as they would have in the Championship if they'd played the exact same way. An adaptation to their system is exactly what the newly promoted sides need. As here comes Martin Ødegaard for Arsenal. A springing counter-attack on force here for Arsenal. Ødegaard out wide to Solis. First run of the night really at Milan van Ewijk. Cuts inside onto his right foot. Solis! Over the crossbar. Yeah, really good run down that left-hand side. And he just was given too much space by Milan van Ewijk. Tried to show him on the outside. Ended up showing him inside. And as he gets onto that right foot, round about the edge of the box, Christos Solis just tried to strike it. A bit of height behind it. High and wide, but a decent effort. applause from Mikel Arteta for his new signing. Christos Solis, of course, has Premier League experience previously with Norwich City a few seasons ago. Spent his season over the last 2 seasons at Club Bruges, of course, in Belgium. Joined Arsenal for £34 million this summer from Bruges. Here is Bukayo Saka. Tried to whip the ball towards that far left corner, was well muscled, and a good challenge there by Yerenchi to win it back. Couldn't find it through to Ellis Sims though, and Arsenal retrieved the ball pretty quickly. Yeah, decent competitive start from Coventry so far. Just keeping Arsenal at bay, and Arsenal with the first real chance of the game through Christos Solis. Here is Bukayo Saka. Back to Rice. Now Lewis Skelly. Rice to Ødegaard. Working the angles here, Arsenal early doors. Rice. White coming off that right hand side. Back to Declan Rice, who's the anchor from midfield at the minute. Directing things for Arsenal. Rice in behind. Finds the runner. Solis across. Taken down by Saka. Off target, but it took a deflection. Will be a corner. Amenda got the block in. Yeah, really good run by Solis. Not often we see a left winger make that run out in the right hand side, but he does it really well. Feints off the back of the defence. Rice plays a lovely way to ball in behind, and he cuts it back with real pace and real height. Taken in beautifully with the left foot of Bukayo Saka. Gets it down onto his right and has the strike deflected behind by Amenda for the corner. Arsenal's first corner of the game. Saka, who won it, will take it. Left-footed, taken short. Little 1-2. Saka, dink into the box. Ben White leaves it. Shots from Solis was blocked there on the line by one of the defenders. I think it was Bobby Thomas that got his toe to it to clear it away. Really calm and composed from Arsenal there. Really settled possession. Comfortable play. Solis again, the danger man in the right areas. Again, it's Saka, just takes it short. Gets it back with a little return from Lewis Skelly, and then he just rolls it into Ben White, who split the 2 defenders. And as he cuts it back, Solis on the edge of the box was there to try and strike on the end of it. And the shot was blocked by Bobby Thomas. Getting bodies on the line, Coventry, which is a necessary factor. First offside of the new campaign. Gary Bezic, the assistant, on that far right side. Referee Thomas Bramall. Our VAR for this one this evening, Jared Gillett, of course, right the way throughout the campaign. We'll talk. Premier League released some details today about the new refereeing initiatives that they've imposed, kind of the feeling around the Premier League on decisions. We've seen such controversy over the summer in the World Cup with those certain decisions from referees, so we'll get full clarity from the Premier League very shortly. Solis, out wide to Havertz, who drifts to that wide left. Inside now to Rice, who will hit one from range. That was a strike and a half from Declan Rice, but it was always rising, and over the crossbar it goes. Again, really good combination play by Arsenal, really fluid attacking line. Solis and Havertz linking up nicely. Solis gets it back to Rice, who just struck it from about 30 yards. Decent effort, again over the crossbar. We're getting shots off Arsenal, 4 shots. None of them on target though. Just under 70% of the ball for the first 9 minutes or so here at the Emirates. That ball forward shielded out by Christian Mosquera. Ellis Sims trying to use his physicality. Arsenal dealt with it on that occasion. Raya hoofs forward. Edged away by De Silva, Jay De Silva. Taken in by Brandon Thomas Asante. Nicely done here to De Silva down the lefts. Back to Frank Onyeka. Has experience in the Premier League as well with Brentford. On ball by Amenda, looking for the run of Brandon Thomas Asante. That one's a little too heavy. Rice, Odegaard. Space for Odegaard to run. Wide to Saka. Bukayo Saka into the box. Saka clips it across. It's up and over onto the roof of the net. It took a deflection, say the officials, off Jada Silva. That'll be a corner. Yeah, again, really good directness again for Bukayo Saka. Last season we were a little bit frustrated with Arsenal about their lack of directness from those areas. They were a little bit too ponderous at times. They worked it kind of recycled it a little bit across the attacking line, across around the edge of the box, whereas Saka gets that drive at his fullback, driving towards the area. Really good diagonal inside run, and he gets a set piece out of it. 25 set piece goals for Arsenal last season, the most of any Premier League team. Corner here, lifted into the area, too close though to Coventry's Carl Rushworth, the goalkeeper who extended his stay at Coventry, signed a new contract in the summer. A permanent contract, shall I say. He was on loan last season from Brighton and signed a permanent deal, shall I say, for £22 million this summer. So reliable for Coventry last season, Rushworth. 17 clean sheets in the Championship in his 46 matches. So reliable. He only conceded 45 goals. That's less than a goal per game last season. Good hold up here by Ellis Sims against Gabriel. Played it off well here. Chauner. Chauner's trying to go for a goal from a long range. Retrieved by Grimes. There's Yerenchi. Back to Matt Grimes. A leader that carried Coventry to a playoff final a few years ago that ended in defeat against Luton Town at Wembley. Now he's finally got them and led them to the Premier League. A real dream scenario for the Coventry midfielder. Thomas to Amenda. Back to Bobby Thomas, who scored that crucial goal in the game where Coventry were crowned, were confirmed promoted. They weren't crowned champions at the time, but they were confirmed promoted in that 1-1 draw at the end of last season away at Blackburn Rovers. Huge goal at Ewood Park. If they'd have lost that game, they wouldn't have been crowned, or wouldn't have been promoted that night. Bobby Thomas come up with a hell of a goal to level it late. That's the scene that's the clip that we showed you earlier, that same night, where it was confirmed at the final whistle that Coventry would be returning to the Premier League after 25 years. Ellis Sims trying to battle for the ball there. We'll get a free kick as Gabriel was deemed to have been fouled by the Coventry centre forward. Well, one thing Frank Lampard certainly highlighted as a key of trying to stay in the Premier League, because that's Coventry's main goal. It's a main goal for any newly promoted team. Your first target is to stay in the division. And he kind of highlighted before the game tonight about how it's physicality in the Premier League, and we kind of equate that to Leeds and Sunderland last season. We'll keep harping back to this when we talk about the newly promoted teams, because they bucked a trend, Leeds and Sunderland. We'd seen the newly promoted teams go up and down for the last few seasons. Leeds and Sunderland did it a different way and showed how it's done. You have to be physically able to compete in the Premier League. It's not always about having a star player or the ability to keep the ball out of your net. You're going to concede goals, but it's about being physically adept as Arsenal open the scoring. Beautiful ball off the left-hand side, and Kai Havertz gives Arsenal the lead on 15 minutes, and the champions are off the mark. Arsenal 1, Coventry City 0, and Kai Havertz with a sweep into the bottom right corner, shall I say, to give the Gunners the opening lead of the new season. Again, it all came out of nowhere, really. Coventry gave the ball a little cheaply away. They thought they dealt with it, But Arsenal quick when they won it back to find the danger man and to find the finish. Again, it's just a long ball out to that left. Coventry thought they'd had it dealt with Milan van Ewijk here. Just gets too comfortable. Hits it off his man. Bounces around a little bit and the ball in. Beautiful cross in. I think it's Riccardo Calafiori plays a lovely ball across the box. Really good ball. Low, right across, whipped into the path of Kai Havertz, who swept onto it with that left foot. Tucked it in the bottom right corner. Quality goal. But that's the difference. That's the fine margins in the top flight. You have to say. In the Championship, you might have got away with those moments. In the Premier League, you don't get away with those moments. And not at the home of the champions. A quarter of an hour on the clock. And the Gunners have had their first bullets of the season blasted into the Coventry net. Arsenal 1, Coventry City 0. The champions are off and running for the new season. And Kai Havertz coming into the season, if there was to be a bit of criticism from Arsenal, of course, you can't really criticise the champions too much. But if there was to be something that I've certainly seen highlighted by a lot of pundits and a lot of analysts over the summer about Arsenal, is they still feel they're lacking that star man up front. And I think Kai Havertz, whatever you want to think about him, he's clinical in key moments. He comes up with big goals. He creates big moments. And I think that's what you need. Yes, he might not be the orthodox forward or the orthodox centre forward that maybe Arsenal want or need, or what some people feel is what should happen. They won the title with this squad last season with Gyökeres and Havertz. I think it's wide areas which they struggled a little last season, Arsenal. That's where their problems really were, because they weren't scoring enough goals with the wide areas. Centre forward was probably getting the same amount of goals that he was getting in the last few seasons with Arsenal in getting towards the title. It was the width that just wasn't there last season, and Saka with injury problems, not really great quality off the left at times for Arsenal. Trossard coming up with some key goals, but nothing really at that top level from wide areas. So I think a lot of the talk has been, is Gyökeres good enough? Can Havertz do the job continually throughout the season? I don't think that's the key argument. I think it's in the wide areas. Saka staying fit and having a great season, that's crucial. The new signing Solis coming in, hitting the ground running, that's crucial. And then the options around the back of that, your Maduekis, your Ezes, your Trossard, for example. Those options off the bench for Arsenal that could make the difference, that weren't making the difference last season. You need those options to make differences this season in those wide areas. But of course, I mean, you're picking hairs. You're finding little increments that could change for Arsenal. There's very little that you would say they didn't do well last season. The only thing you could say is they could have scored more goals. But, I mean, everybody could score more goals. Everybody misses chances. Beautiful little touch on the turn from Lewis Skelly. Fed in behind by Odegaard. Too straight, really. Needed a little bit more bend on it to find Havertz in behind. Again, beautiful half turn from Miles Lewis Skelly, though, in such a tight area. Found Odegaard. He tried to feed it towards Kai Havertz. Just miscued it a little bit. That was nicely done by Brandon Thomas Asante, and Sims using his body. Well, the last touch comes off the Coventry number 9, and that will be a throw-in to Arsenal, though. An issue here for Gabriel. He's down holding his shin at the moment, which is not a good sign. See, maybe it was... Oh, it's his foot that actually is the one. He was clipped by Ellis Sims. It's accidental, both going for the ball. He's kind of caught his left boot of Gabriel. Should be okay, Gabriel, just to get back to his feet and return to the field of play with little to no damage done. And of course, if you're new to the channel or if you've been with us, we've had some upgrades. Of course, I've got the whiteboard in the back. Throughout the season, we use that tactically. I talk about teams, tactics, and other things like that. For the moment, I just wrote some key information to tell you what's going on. Also, our new colours, new colour scheme. We've gone purple this season. with the Premier League. We've made some new graphics. We've updated things a little bit for the new season. Of course, the LFS logo was updated as well for the new campaign. So lots of updates for the new season. So hopefully you're enjoying it so far. 20 minutes on the clock. And don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell, because we have such a busy season right the way throughout the campaign here in LFS, bringing you Premier League football every single weekend that it is on. Champions League is back in a few weeks. The Championship right the way throughout the campaign, and then the Cups as well. Plus much more in key moments throughout the campaign to see what the most important games are, and we'll bring you them to you right the way throughout the campaign. Here's Bukayo Saka out on this right, trying to dribble his way past De Silva, finds a lovely ball to White. Now Odegaard rolls it back for Lewis Skelly, who's a little closed down. Really good closing here from Coventry, and Bobby Thomas does well against Kai Havertz, wins the free kick. I have to give credit to Coventry there, because Arsenal were trying to play through them, and every time the ball got to someone in danger, there was Coventry players surrounding the ball. Really nicely done from Frank Lampard's side. Really nicely done. Bouncing ball dropping there. Rice will take it in his stride. Finds Odegaard, drifting away from trouble. Now Declan Rice, edge of the box, finds it to Solis. Fired across, cleared by the keeper, but bundled in by Bukayo Saka. 2-0 to the Gunners, and Bukayo Saka gets his campaign opened with a simple enough goal from a couple of yards out. Carl Rushworth tried to direct it away, but directed it into the path of Arsenal's number 7. And Kai Havertz, who scored the opener, is now backed up by Bukayo Saka, who scores the second for Arsenal. Yeah, again, it's beautiful from Declan Rice. Takes it and strides with such ease forward. Finds it to Odegaard, who's got all sorts of space throughout this game. The two of them link up so sweetly. Ball comes out to the left. It's Solis who just drifts it across. Rushworth gets his left hand to it, but there's two queuing up at the back post. Havertz and Saka were there. It was Bukayo Saka that tucked it in and doubling Arsenal's lead. It's been a comfortable night so far for the Gunners. It's getting more and more comfortable by the minute. Arsenal 2, Coventry City 0. And it is starting to get into that danger zone for Frank Lampard, that he doesn't want his team to get blasted by Arsenal here on opening night. It's easier said than done to try and deny them. Oh, ball given away in midfield there. Sims just about fired it to Onyeka, but that's well cut out by Martin Odegaard, who got a foot in. Right to Declan Rice. Rice. Mosquera into Lewis Skelly. Now Declan Rice. Flicking it over the top, looking for the run of Ben White, who'd made the charge. Bundled over, but no foul, says the assistant on that side. Coventry will win the throw-in out of Amenda there down the left-hand flank. Yeah, Ben White made the runner behind. He made the claim to the referee, Thomas Bramall, but the assistant and the referee moved. saying that Ben White was not fouled. It's the shoulder-to-shoulder challenge with his defender. Nyeka with the header. And Thomas Asante sandwiched between two. That will be a throw-in to Coventry. Brandon Thomas Asante wanted a foul. The referee again letting things go, and we'll get to that point at half-time of a graphic for you at half-time just to show you what the Premier League have released today on information about the new refereeing kind of prerogatives for the new season, and kind of what way they'll referee games, what the kind of standards are, and the points of emphasis is what they're calling it. And we'll talk all about that at half-time. Just give you a full breakdown of it. Solis. Again, a good turn by Miles Lewis-Skelly. Looking really comfortable in midfield, Lewis-Skelly. Said at the tail end of last season, when it was just a real bit of a trial run from Mikel Arteta for Miles Lewis-Skelly, and he did a really good job, a quality job, and look at that ease, just breaking off Yerenchi. He's actually going to get a free kick here, and it's going to be a yellow card for the debutant Caleb Yerenchi. He just looks so comfortable there, Miles Lewis-Skelly, under no pressure whatsoever. And Yerenchi in the book. First yellow card of the season. Goes the way of the Coventry midfielder. Martin Ødegaard over this one. Arsenal skipper. Left-footed, he goes short to the far left-hand side. Solis. And that one's actually going to be a free kick. Kai Havertz deemed to have committed a foul. Free kick to Coventry. Yeah, Havertz broke around the outside. It was Matt Grimes that just shielding the ball. And the referee says that Kai Havertz bundled him over. He did push him in the shoulder. And it was a foul according to the referee. Well, Arsenal and Coventry have only faced in the opening league game of a season once in history, in the 1993-94 season, and they won 3-0 Coventry on that night at Highbury. A hat-trick from Mick Quinn at the Sky Blues, off to a fabulous start at Highbury a good 33 years ago. Here is Chauna. Yerenchi, Chauna, back to Van Eyck. Grimes, Yerenchi. Oh, miscued it there, got it all wrong with Van Eyck, and now a breakaway chance for Arsenal again. Ødegaard still in his own half though. Lovely touch away from his man, but run into another one. And Yerenchi makes the retrieval. As Rushworth will knock it long. Looking for Ellis Sims. Got the first touch. Not a great touch from Lewis-Skelly. Gives it to Chauna. A little bit sloppy there from both teams. Thomas Asante couldn't reach in the first time. Slides in the second. Misses that tackle. And then a bit too committed from Chauna. He commits the foul on Bukayo Saka. Just trying to get used to the physicality, the pace of the game. Coventry at this moment in time. That's what I would say. They've just been outpaced by Arsenal. Charge down the left here. Solis, Calafiori, Lewis-Skelly, Ødegaard flicking it round the outside. Havertz trying to cause a nuisance. Seen away well by Amenda. Well, a decent job so far, the debutant Aurel Amenda. And a free kick for Coventry once again. Welcome in everybody watching. Rodney, Daniel and Ian all watching all in the chat. Thank you very much for joining us, and everybody who's watching on YouTube, thank you very much for joining us for this one. One of 4 Premier League commentaries that watch-along commentaries we'll have for you this weekend. We're meant to have 3, but we've extended it. Why not? Monday night we'll have Fulham Chelsea, as well as Man City Bournemouth and Newcastle Liverpool in our Sunday double-header. And of course tonight's opening game between Arsenal and Coventry. And of course we'll have all the breakdown of the results from Saturday's action on our Sunday double-header action. And we'll have actually 3 games to cover. There's 2 games at 2 o'clock on Sunday. So a festival of footballing action in the opening Premier League weekend of the season. Half an hour gone here at the Emirates. It's Arsenal 2, Coventry City 0. Goals from Kai Havertz and Bukayo Saka as the champions off the mark. Here's Christos Solis, who's been bright down that left-hand side right from the off. Rice with the switch, undercooked. Thomas Asante's header will drop for Ben White, taken in by Odegaard on the half-turn. Faces the goal again. Now Lewis Skelly. White. Havertz drops a little deeper, all getting involved in the build-up here, the Gunners. Odegaard trying to unlock the door once again. All the way back to Declan Rice. Wide to Bukayo Saka. Lovely combinations from Arsenal again. Here is Saka. Lewis Skelly now. Odegaard. So comfortable in possession. Gabriel back here to Calafiori. Now Mosquera. One of the key talking points this season will be about fitness for Arsenal. Got such depth in so many areas for the campaign that you kind of feel that if one does get injured, they've got such depth around the whole of the field and such versatility around the field, especially in the back line. And if there is an injury issue, they've got ample players to fill those spaces, not just bodies, quality players that can back up and really keep the pressure on the starters to be at the top level. That's the key. And if you know you're not to your top game, you could be at risk of being swapped out for someone on the bench. Calafiori. Switch by Miles Lewis Skelly, has some pace on it. Beautifully taken in by Saka. Bukayo Saka up against Jadon Silva. Finds it to Odegaard. Odegaard through. Ben White was blocked from his effort. And that's cleared away. Beautiful again from Odegaard. Such simplicity and ease with the ball at his feet. White with the clip ball towards the area. It will bounce though comfortably into the hands of the Coventry stopper, Carl Rushworth. He's at a break. Oh, lovely takedown here from Brandon Thomas Asante. Reversing it round the corner. Finds Ellis Sims into the area. Gabriel there to combat him away. Ellis Sims using his body. Gets away from Gabriel. And I think it's going to be a free kick. Right at the edge of the box here. Very lucky that it's outside the box, Gabriel. Yeah, Sims does really well. Just gets away from his man. Is dragged down, yeah. Comfortably done. Well seen by the referee, and I think Gabriel's got a yellow card as well for his troubles. Frank Lampard making the claim. The referee agrees. Free kick and a yellow card to Coventry. A yellow card to Gabriel, shall I say, for the foul. First real dangerous moment for the Sky Blues since that first minute corner. Matt Grimes to take this set piece. Wide on the left, just around the edge of the 18-yard area on that left-hand side. Grimes, left-footed, deep to the back post. Up and away by White. And followed up by Odegaard and then by Havertz. They couldn't link it all up, as that's all the way back now to Rushworth. Good recovery pace from Coventry there to deal with the possible counter-attack. Could have arisen. Look at that from Solis. Beautiful. Now Lewis Skelly. Havertz, a little awkward. Solis does enough. And he's done enough to win a free kick out of Milan Van Eyck, who claims his innocence, but Solis in a heap. And the referee gives Arsenal the free kick. Well, this is the first Premier League meeting between Arsenal and Coventry since February 2001. It was a 1-0 win for the Gunners at Highfield Road. Since Coventry did the double over Arsenal in the 93-94 campaign, they've won just one of their 14 top-flight meetings against the Gunners. That was a 3-2 win on Boxing Day in 1999. They've lost 8 of the other 13 matches and drawn 5 of those games. Free kick here for the Gunners, who've started the season in the first 35 minutes very well. Off the mark with their goal scoring pretty comfortably. Odegaard takes the free kick short. Rice square to White. Down the right comes Bukayo Saka. 4 in the box. Saka trying to take on his man, and Ellis Sims, who looked to have got him down, and then right back to his feet, Saka. And he wins the corner for Arsenal out on that right hand side. Beautiful perseverance from Bukayo Saka. Again, he just big man to get past in Ellis Sims, who tries to do enough to take him down, and as he does slip to the ground, Bukayo Saka, the ball continues to break into the area, gets back to his feet after getting past Ellis Sims, and wins the corner for the Gunners. Let's see what's on the cards here from this set piece. Saka to deliver. It's a narrow one. Drops around the area. Bodies were back there for Coventry, but picked up by Odegaard here. Trying to clip it round the back. Good strong header at the back post by Bobby Thomas. Chasing out now to Zolis, who picks it up. Thomas in his way. Zolis onto his right. Beats Bobby Thomas. Then comes back at him. Clips it across. Havertz just over his head. And they just about scramble it away, Coventry, but right back at them it comes. Zolis driving around the edge of the area. Lots of bodies queuing up here for Arsenal. Calafiori gets the shot off. Blocked by Matt Grimes. Endeavour from Arsenal, endless. Zolis clipped across. Grimes in the way. Now Brandon Thomas-Asante tries to be the man to see it away, and Rice penalised for a late challenge there. That's going to be a free kick. And that breaks the momentum, but I have to say, very impressive again from Arsenal. I know it's the opening game of the season, Coventry, a newly promoted side, but it's just the energy, you know, the persistence. Once one attack is over, they're right back on it to get on the front foot again, to get another attack going. That's that ability to constantly be persistent. Attack after attack after attack after attack. Relentless nature of attacking. Exactly what we want to see from the top teams in the Premier League. And Arsenal starting to show moments of that in this game already. There was a penalty check from VAR on the cards there, for a possible handball from Milan van Ewijk, but his arm was down by his side. It definitely wasn't a penalty. Mosquera. Miles Lewis Skelly. Andrew says baptism of fire for Coventry. Hopefully they settle down quickly. And we'll also look at these two teams' first 5 fixtures of the season and really analyse kind of how their starts to the campaign could be affected by their fixture list. We'll talk about that at half-time. We've lots to get through. We've 15 minutes to fill at half-time, and we will fill them. Don't you worry about that. Certainly have a lot to talk about on opening night. And some breaking news as well to bring you in just a second. In a moment, once I feed it into the system to tell you visually what the breaking news that is just broken is. We can bring you some breaking news. Here it is at the top of your screen. Breaking news. Manchester United have agreed a £70 million deal with Brighton for midfielder Carlos Baleba. According to the reports, the deal for Baleba is worth £65 million plus £5 million in add-ons. Brighton have inserted a sell-on clause with the deal, and he's expected to sign a 5-year contract with Man United and will undergo his medical in the next 24 hours. That's the latest at the moment, that Man United have agreed a £70 million deal for Brighton midfielder Carlos Baleba. So big news for Manchester United this evening. Another midfield body in the door at Old Trafford for Michael Carrick, and they'll be in action tomorrow afternoon away at Hull City, newly promoted Hull, at the Caoimhan Stadium, and we'll talk about that at half-time as well. I told you there's lots to get through, no shortage of it. Here's Brandon Thomas Asante. Ellis Sims, good hold up, finds Chowna. Wide to the right hand side it comes. Benevike, Chowna. Square now to Onyeka. Clipped in by De Silva. Not enough whip on it really. Grimes takes it down. Flick over the top. Oh, it's caught the keeper. Just under the roof of the net there. Raya was a little worried. Decent effort that from Chowna. Chowna there with an audacious one. Facing away from goal around the inside the D. There's a little overhead flick. And it just was dropping. It had David Raya worried. In the end, it didn't need to have him worried because it just bounces under the roof of the net. But it wasn't too far away, I have to say. It was not too far away from just dropping in. Rushworth with another long direct ball towards Ellis Sims. That was stolen away from Sims by Gabriel. Yeah, really strong first 45 here so far from Arsenal. And 43 minutes on the clock, but this first half has been a real showing of the champions, just flexing their muscles on opening night, showing the strength that they have, even though that, of course, every team in the first few weeks will just be building fitness, getting settled, understanding players, positions, what's best for them. Arsenal, obviously the most settled because they're the champions. Very little change from the Gunners. One or two reinforcement signings, but it's a lot of the same techniques. Here's Bukayo Saka out on this right. Can they find another before the break? Rice whips a ball in, headed away at the back post and followed away by Chowna. Sims tries to flick it round the outside for Chowna to chase. He will get to it. Opportunity here for Coventry. We'll retreat it though to Milan Benevike, and takes it on the halfway line to Grimes, who will once again try and launch it, but that one will bounce its way all the way towards David Raya in the Arsenal goal. You want to see a little bit more from his team, Frank Lampard. Of course, it's tough on opening night, new season. Completely different expectations for the campaign for Coventry, and it's all about learning at this early point of the campaign. Here is Solis down this left onto his right foot. Christos Solis, edge of the box, was eyeing up the shot there, bundled away off the ball. Will drop to White though. Referee plays advantage. Saka around the outside. Odegaard fired across, and again Amenda in the way to hook it behind for the corner. Again, fluid play from Arsenal. Solis onto his right foot, just driving and driving and driving. It was Llorenci with the late challenge. Just kind of shoved him, but awkwardly fell onto his right ankle there, Christos Solis. Yeah, difficult one. As we enter added time, 2 added minutes at the end of the first half. Taken short by Saka, the corner. Odegaard, back to Bukayo Saka. Now Odegaard again with a bit of space. He will try and find the net. That took it a deflection as it's fizzled through the area. Will be another corner. Again, the space on the edge of the box is quite glaring. It took a deflection off, not too sure who that was there, but it was a Coventry player, that for certain. Another Arsenal corner. A minute to go before the break. Coventry's target will be just keeping it as it is, at least. Nothing worse. Saka. Odegaard. Short again. Back to Saka again. This time he will find Rice on the edge. Rice trying to curl one. Just wide of the post. Again, very similar to the last corner. Similar combination between Odegaard and Saka. This time Saka goes a little further across the edge of the area, finding Declan Rice in that half space. And as he gets the shot off, just doesn't get enough bend on it. Directs it wide of that left post, and a wry smile from Declan Rice. He's got it in his locker, no doubt. Just couldn't find the net on that occasion. Bit of frustration for Frank Lampard, but understandable. Situations disappointing, but understandable in the sense that this is their first 45 minutes of Premier League football for the season. They will only get better from here. That will be the feeling for Coventry City. Oh, a dangerous one that could drop nicely here for Arsenal. Havertz was offside. That will be a free kick, and that will end the first half here at the Emirates. So the champions off the mark to a flyer in the first 45 minutes of the season. They've given us an exciting start to the new campaign with two very good goals from two very good players in Bukayo Saka and Kai Havertz off the mark. Havertz sweeping in and Saka slotting in from a couple of yards out. The champions flexing their muscles on opening night. We'll be back to talk everything Premier League for the new season at half-time. That's on the way in just a moment. Do stay with us. Ekitike! That is pure and utter class from Ugo Ekitike. And Burbo tucks it home. Red shines brightest on Old Trafford pitch, and Manchester United take the lead. And saved by Okonkwo. There's the magic moments. Arthur Okonkwo, the hero for Wrexham. Final whistle goes, and Manchester United have done it. The league double over Liverpool for the first time in 10 years. McGinn finding Buendia, trying to curl one. Oh wow! Emi Buendia for the 5th time in a row. Celtic are going to win the title. Final whistle goes. Hull City up Premier League again. It's all over. Arsenal are the champions. Gabriel, little run up. Oh, he skied it over the bar. PSG are European champions once again. Welcome back to Premier League Live on the opening night of the new season. Half-time, it is Arsenal 2, Coventry City 0. Kai Havertz and Bukayo Saka on the score sheet from the first 45 minutes of the new season. And the Gunners certainly in control at the Emirates at half-time. That's the full list of fixtures across the weekend here on LFS. We will have 3 more matches. The last 3 on that list there, we will have all across the live watch-along commentaries for the opening weekend of the new season. But before we get into all of that, let's really kind of delve deep into... we'll start with the Premier League. Basically, put out 3 graphics today on socials about the new season, the direction that they're going, VAR-wise, refereeing-wise, new rules and new kind of involvements in the new season for the Premier League. So let's bring that information to you. So let's firstly bring this graphic up. The football principles for the new season for the Premier League. So, of course, they want to maintain a high threshold for penalising challenges, so not every contact is a foul, but also protecting player safety at the same time in doing so. Of course, maintain a high threshold for VAR intervention, so the referee's call will stand unless, in the opinion of VAR, based upon the evidence readily available, that a call is a clear and obvious error. Back to that whole idea again. A more efficient application of VAR, which is kind of what we've always wanted. We don't want the big long delays, minute long, 2 minute long, 3 minute long delays of VAR checks that could really slow the game down and ruin really the quality of the game. So a more efficient application of VAR, including the improved use of semi-automated offside technology. Of course, we saw the introduction of that halfway through last season. That's now fully developed, and more updates to that. I continue to focus on in-stadium VAR experience, of course, announcements from the referee, more graphics on the screens, more understanding of what decisions are and why they're being made and why things are being checked. All of that for in-stadium things. Continue a robust approach to improving participant behaviour on field and in the technical area, of course, just not letting things boil over as much and just having a real control of that in all areas, and maintain stronger measures to reduce time wasting and disruption tactics, of course, which we saw a massive rise of in the last few seasons around the world of football. In terms of the refereeing points of emphasis, well, continue to deliver a less is more approach to penalising handballs, so just not over-analysing things, basically common sense approach to the handball rule. Enhanced recognition of holding offences on field, of course. We've seen a lot of that. A lot of holds, a lot of grabbing, a lot of pulling, but less of it is being used in the Premier League, and certainly last season we saw it penalised a lot less, so that's a real focus of the Premier League and the referees for the new season. Place a greater focus on challenges on goalkeepers, where the attacking player clearly and unfairly impacts the ability of goalkeepers to move to the ball. So we saw controversy of that last season as well, of goals being disallowed at moments last season where goalkeepers were deemed to have been fouled, weren't fouled. We saw it in the World Cup as well. So a real clear example of that, of an introduction and a greater focus on that for the Premier League and referees in the new season. A deal proportionately when sanctioning hair pulling through new guidance. Of course, we saw a few red cards at the latter stages of last season on hair pulling red cards, controversy over that, and a real debate on why that was and what the impact of that was. And then, of course, continue to deal robustly with clear actions intended to deceive the referees with simulation as such on that front. And then finally, the new laws of the game. Now, we've seen this in the World Cup trialled out, and we've seen now domestic leagues around the world taking that kind of involvement from the World Cup and using it now in the domestic league. So a goalkeeper, tactical timeout trial. The nominated outfield player will leave the pitch for 1 minute if a goalkeeper receives treatment. So a goalkeeper, obviously, common sense wise, cannot leave the field for a minute after receiving treatment. So there is already a designated player, outfield player from the whatever team it is the goalkeeper is fouled or injured, shall I say, that receives treatment. Already a player will have to go off. It will be an outfield player, and that is already pre-decided. So that will happen in goalkeeping treatment situations. Referees can start a 5-second timer countdown for unfair delaying of goal kicks and throw-ins. So we've saw that in the World Cup, where if a team takes more than 5 seconds to take a throw-in after the player has grabbed the ball, it will be swapped, and it will be similar to like a foul throw. The throw-in will be given in the opposite direction for the opposite team. A 10-second countdown for substitutions to leave the field. So basically, we've seen it a lot where players kind of waltz off slowly, take their time in getting off the field to slow the game down to time waste. 10 seconds is now the cut-off point for that. Also, VAR can review clearly incorrect second yellow cards. We saw that as well in that one, of where a second yellow card is handed out, but it is incorrect to hand a second yellow card out. On that occasion, VAR can review those moments, but it won't be overly used, as it says. Also, not possible to miss second yellow card. So if someone feels that a second yellow card should be handed out, VAR can't intervene and provide a second yellow card, but they can basically incorrectly given second yellow cards, and VAR can also recommend that corners or free kicks are retaken if a foul occurs before the ball is in play. So a retake basically can be taken if there's a foul with the ball not in play. So tussling and bustling in the box, someone commits a foul and a corner is coming in, it can be retaken if there is a said foul to allow the team another chance. So a lot to get your head around on that, but that is the new directive from the Premier League in all cases on the new season. It's a lot to get our head around. We'll get used to it, but it is a lot to get used to. Then let's move on to some of the key stats for the new season. Of course, defending champions. We took a look. The last 6 defending Premier League champions and their finishes in the season of which they were attempting to defend the title. 3 of the last 6 times the team that won the title has won on to retain it. That was Manchester City on all 3 occasions. As you've seen there, the red lines are the teams that didn't retain the title and had a worse off points tally or worse off position in the following season. A yellow means they finished in the same position but with lower points, and green is either a retention of the title but a retention of the title with more points in the following season. So red has seen 3 times, twice with Liverpool in their retention of their respective titles. Of course, last season, a 24-point deduction in terms of their overall quality, Liverpool, compared to their title-winning season the season prior. Same with City the season before that. They had the 20-point drop-off from their title-winning season in 23-24 to 24-25. 91 points to 71 points. And of course, also to tell you, Liverpool's 19-20 season, that was a huge drop-off. 30 points drop-off from Liverpool. 99 points down to 69 points from that season there. The 3 of which it was retained were all Man City retentions. Twice they retained it with more points than the season prior. Just once they retained it with less points. That was in the 21-22 season. They retained it in the 22-23 season with less points. 4 less points than the season prior. Arsenal have that job on their hands to follow suit. A clean slate. 9 clubs start the season with a new manager. Marco Rosa at Bournemouth, Xabi Alonso at Chelsea, Pierre Sage at Crystal Palace, Alvaro Arbeloa at Fulham, Andoni Iraola at Liverpool, Enzo Maresca at Manchester City. Almost said Chelsea there. I knew I was going to do it. Enzo Maresca at Manchester City, Gary O'Neill at newly promoted Ipswich, Oliver Glasner at Nottingham Forest, and Matisse Jaisler at Newcastle United. Of course, Marco Rosa, Xabi Alonso, Pierre Sage, Alvaro Arbeloa, all Matisse Jaisler, 5 of those 9 managers, all new to the Premier League, never managed a Premier League game before in their lives. 4 of them, though, have Andoni Iraola, Enzo Maresca, Gary O'Neill, and Oliver Glasner. So, clean slate. New faces, new managers, a record. No Premier League season has ever started with more clubs with a new manager taking the helm than this season. 9 new managers. Incredible. Speaking of the newly promoted clubs, new managers, we have new clubs. 3 new Premier League clubs for the new season, the newly promoted sides. Coventry, who we watched tonight, they won the championship with 95 points. Won it by 11 points ahead of Ipswich last season. Hull City won the playoffs on 73 points, finished 6th in the table last season, and they got it into the playoffs by just 2 points on the final day of last season ahead of Wrexham. And the season prior, they only stayed in the division in the championship by goal difference. A very intriguing task for Hull and how they kind of navigate this season. And Ipswich, 2nd in the championship, 84 points last season. Right, before we get ready for the second half, some more graphics to bring you. The first 5 fixtures of the season for these 2 clubs in Arsenal and Coventry. We'll start with Arsenal. Coventry at home tonight. They were in the championship last season. Aston Villa away next weekend. Villa, of course, finished 4th last season. Then Chelsea at home on the 6th of September. That is Chelsea side who finished 10th last season. Xabi Alonso in charge there now. Sunderland away, a tough job for Arsenal. They drew 2-2 with Sunderland last season on their trip to the Stadium of Light. That's on the 12th of September. They finished 7th. And Brighton away follows that. Back-to-back away trips. Brighton away on the 19th of September. That's a team who finished 8th last season. So look at that. 4 of their first 5 for Arsenal are teams that finished in the top 10 last season. The other one, starting tonight, was a newly promoted Championship side. For Coventry, well, a trip to Arsenal tonight, who won the league last season. Then newly promoted Hull, so 2 newly promoted sides meet at the Coventry Building Society Arena, or the CBS Arena, next weekend as Hull come to town. Then a trip to Man City the following week, who finished as runners-up last season. Then Brighton at home, and then a trip to Nottingham Forest for Coventry. Right, it is Arsenal 2, Coventry City 0 at the break. Second half of the Emirates on the way next. Ekitike! That is pure and utter class from Ugo Ekitike. And Burbo tucks it home. Red shines brightest on Old Trafford pitch. And Manchester United take the lead. And saved by Okonkwo. There's the magic moments. Arthur Okonkwo, the hero for Wrexham. Final whistle goes. And Manchester United have done it. The league double over Liverpool for the first time in 10 years. McGinn finding Buendia, trying to curl one. Oh, wow! Emi Buendia for the 5th time in a row. Celtic are going to win the title. Final whistle goes. Hull City up Premier League again. It's all over. Arsenal are the champions. Gabriel, little run up. Oh, he skied it over the bar. PSG are European champions once again. Welcome back to Premier League Live. Second half at the Emirates on the way in just a second. Both teams out for the second half. Arsenal leading by 2-0 at the break, and they get us underway for the second half here at the Emirates Stadium. A very impressive first half from the Gunners. The second half, they will be hoping will follow suit for the second period here in North London. Of course, the new season, of course, fantasy as well. Fantasy Premier League is back. I don't know if you play that, but it's always getting to know who you can put in your team and who's good to put in your team in week 1. And I've not started too badly. I've Kai Havertz as my captain for this one. Gabriel and David Raya as well in my team for this one. So very good start to the weekend so far. Raya to Mosquera. Of course, it's obvious coming into this one that at 2-0 going into the second half, the feeling for Coventry, the main feeling will be, let's make sure this doesn't get any worse, or certainly much worse than it is already. The last thing you want is opening night, first game of the season, to be embarrassed away from home in your first Premier League game back in 2.5 decades. It can happen against the champions. It can very easily happen and unravel for you in the opening night. But I think Frank Lampard in the second half will want to see a bit more robustness from his team, but also maybe just try and test Arsenal a little bit. Try and use their quality that they have just to try and test the Gunners. I mean, easier said than done. Of course it is. It is much easier said than done. And that will be the tough task of this new season. Sims with the good hold up. Brandon Thomas-Asante battling well, 1v1. Working in the tight areas. That's nice work from Brandon Thomas-Asante. He's bundled over. Referee says no foul. It was a clean battle between him and Ben White for the ball, and both ended up on the ground. And that one's also going to be no foul. Kai Havertz there against Matt Grimes. Referee letting a few things go now. Here is Yerenchi. Grimes. Back to Bobby Thomas. Across now to Rael Amenda. De Silva. Looking to flick it, looking for the run of Yerenchi. That one, decent idea. Yerenchi with a good run, but too close to the very alert David Raya to cause any concern there. Touch by Calafiore to Christos Solis. And certainly looked to build upon his first half performance. Very positive first Premier League game at Arsenal for Christos Solis so far. Ødegaard now, Bukayo Saka round the outside, White on the overlap, cuts it back, Ødegaard, Rushworth couldn't keep it out. 3-0 Arsenal, and the skipper's now on the score sheets. And the champions are having a breeze of a time here on this beauty of a pitch in North London. Rushworth will be disappointed with himself with that one, that he couldn't keep that one out. Wasn't the cleanest or most venomous of strikes at all from Martin Ødegaard, but nonetheless it finds the nets, and the scoreline has extended further in Arsenal's favour. Really good line breaking pass by Declan Rice. Ødegaard plays it outside, Saka waiting for the overlap of White, White to the byline, cuts it back, and Ødegaard's miscue actually helps it in finding a way past Carl Rushworth rather than the other way about. Took a deflection on the way through as well, and Carl Rushworth is beaten for it. It'll be very painful, that one, to take. That's what can happen on opening night, and it is not turning out too pleasant so far for Coventry in this one. Martin Ødegaard on the score sheets. Arsenal have 3. Scored only 1 Premier League goal all of last season, Martin Ødegaard, in an injury-ravaged campaign for the Gunners skipper. 24 games he played, only 1 goal, and he's already matched that tally. And he actually beats his total tally of last season. He only scored 1 goal all the way through last season. He's now scored more goals in this season than he did all of last season in all competitions. 2 goals now in all comps, compared to just the 1 all comps last season. Of course, he scored in the Community Shield last weekend. Foul there on Kai Havertz. Free kick for Arsenal down this left-hand side. It's been a real ease of a performance for Arsenal. There's been very little difficulty, shall we say, in any stretch for the Gunners. Here is Rice. Solis with the clip ball into the area. Half cleared by Ellis Sims. White, Ødegaard, Saka. Saka into the box it goes. Grimes got his head in the way. Sims makes his body big and takes it down as Jay De Silva does well to win the throw-in out of Bukayo Saka down that left-hand side. Oh, they've given it away again. Havertz rolls it back. Good save from Rushworth with the effort there from, I think that was Lewis Skelly, sorry. Yeah, again, playing in very dangerous areas there, Coventry. Beaten 2v1. Baffling decision to play the ball in that sort of area. Such a dangerous area against the champions, and Havertz does well. Rolls it back, and Lewis Skelly's effort forced over the bar by Rushworth, but causing real problems. All of their own issues at the moment being self-inflicted for Coventry right now. Rice to take this corner. Left-hand side, right-footed, deep to the back post. Up and half cleared as Van Ewijk takes it down. And there's to loop it up the field. It will bobble its way back to Ben White here. Now Martin Ødegaard for Arsenal, who will recycle. This will be a second half of one-way traffic, you feel. Constant Arsenal pressure, constant Arsenal attacking. And Coventry can only hope that it doesn't get any worse. Saka onto his left, rolls it back to Odegaard. Odegaard couldn't quite squeeze that one through. Brendan Thomas Asante got his foot in the way to see it out for the throw. But they've given the Gunners a real groove to settle into once they're in this sort of form. They're untouchable, Arsenal, really. Chowner there does well. Breaks apart in a bit of possession. Ellis Sims plays it back to Onyeka. Now Bobby Thomas will just settle things for Coventry in possession. A quick look at the stats for the game on the left-hand side of the screen. I mean, not a surprise to see that Arsenal dominating every aspect of it. 68% of the ball, XG at 1.46, 12 shots, 5 on target, 27 touches in the opposition box, and 92% passing accuracy. Is very, very healthy numbers for Arsenal in the first game of the season. 2 shots for Coventry, none on target, no touches in the opposition box, and a passing accuracy of 76% at this moment in time. Amenda with the switch. Taken in well by the chest of Milan van Ewijk. Nice little flick. Finds Grimes, wide to Chowner. Chowner onto his left, going for the early cross, looking for Ellis Sims. It will drop in the area. White will deal with it. That was awkward for a second there from Arsenal. Another switch ball out to Chowner here. Better play from Coventry. Chowner round the outside. Van Ewijk clips it across, and Sims was at the back post. Raya was beaten, but just over the head of Ellis Sims. A little less height on it there from Van Ewijk. That could have been a wonderful moment for Coventry. Better play though from Frank Lampard's side. Good ball round the back. Body in the box, and they will win a corner out of Bukayo Saka. Yeah, much better from Coventry in possession. Said, can they cause Arsenal 1 or 2 threats? Use the quality of their attackers to their advantage. Try and get them more involved in the game. They struggled throughout the half, in the first half, to do such and create such a threat. They've got a corner here. Only their second of the game, their first since the first minute of the game, 54 minutes ago. And at the end of which those travelling Coventry supporters will reside here at the Emirates. Sea of sky blue in the corner of this wonderful stadium. Matt Grimes is the one over to take the corner. Referee. I don't know what the issue is here. I think it's with the watch of the referee. The band of his watch. That's the issue. He's got it all sorted. Corner will be taken here. Wide on the left. Left for the delivery by Grimes. An outswinger. Bobby Thomas was the target. He was close to getting on the end of it, but cleared away by Arsenal. Oh, and a poor touch by Onyeka. That's left it open. The back door here. Kai Havertz is away. He's got 2 in support. He's got Odegaard in space now. Rolls it through. A little heavy for Solis, who is going to be offside. Flag's going to go up against Christos Solis there. The Greek international, very close to creating something dangerous. Beautiful breakaway from Kai Havertz. Played it to Odegaard. Havertz was challenged. Referee played advantage, and Odegaard played the nice ball. A little heavy to Solis, who was just a yard offside. Constant danger though from Arsenal in this game. Another dangerous moment there had arisen. Coventry were able to fend that one off a bit, fortunately, with the offside trap. Thomas, Van Ewijk steps inside. Van Ewijk all the way back to Carl Rushworth. Going to be more direct again, looking for the run of Sims. Raya came charging out of his goal. Well, the best of clearances taken in here by Jay De Silva. Steps in field, created a little pocket here. De Silva still going. Little run with Sims. Let the ball roll. Gabriel was able to get it away from danger. Yeah, much more positive from Coventry in the last few minutes. Looking more dangerous. Here's Caoimhan. Onto his left. Reversing it. Trying to find the run of Onyeka. He's beaten off by Lewis Skelly, who wins the free kick off Frank Onyeka. Inside his own box there, there's Miles Lewis Skelly. And really good from Jay De Silva. Picked up that loose clearance from David Raya. Drove towards the area. Really direct approach. Really, really well done. I have to say it's a really positive move. Just a little bit of better hold up from Ellis Sims, and it could have been more dangerous for Coventry in the final third. Here is Riccardo Calafiore. Finding Declan Rice. Now Miles Lewis Skelly. Rice. Gabriel. Switch ball from Declan Rice. Out to the right here for Saka. Bukayo Saka. Odegaard. Havertz. Odegaard again. Lewis Skelly again. Settled possession as Arsenal eke further forward. Yard by yard. Odegaard now wide to White. Back to Odegaard. Little 1-2. Ben White clips it into the area. Over the head of Zolis. And away by Caoimhan. Into the path of Gabriel, who retrieves. And really enjoying Arsenal's play here at the minute. I have to say, that man Martin Odegaard has lit up the pitch. Such beautiful passing. He gets to his best form, which we haven't seen for a season or two from Martin Odegaard. It could be so dangerous. So killer. Zolis. Good run from Calafiore. Clips back. Gets the better of his man. Odegaard. Shot from Zolis, who bounced upon it. Deflected wide for the corner. He is desperate to get off the mark here, Christoph Zolis. And onto the score sheet. Really good play. Finds Calafiore. Good chop back. Off to Odegaard. And then Odegaard beaten to taking the strike there by his man, Christoph Zolis. And it was blocked by Matt Grimes, whose body on the line there sees it behind for the corner. Rice to take this corner. Short taken to Zolis. Space here for Miles Lewis Skelly to turn well. Lays it off, looking for Saka, who was beaten to it. And now the pace could be bursting here for Coventry on the counter. Ample bodies in cover. Bundling there. Odegaard went over. Milan van Ewijk chasing through. And it's going to be a free kick in the way of Arsenal. Let's see the first change of the new season. Victor Torp is going to be coming on here for Coventry City. 27-year-old Dane. On to replace Caleb Llorenci, the debutant. Victor Torp came off the bench with such great fashion last season. Scored 10 goals in the Championship for Coventry last season, including scoring or assisting in each of their final 4 games of the season. Assisted that equaliser for Bobby Thomas against Blackburn to confirm promotion for Coventry last season. Victor Torp, and he's off the bench here. And fresh legs for Coventry in midfield. Rice. Bukayo Saka. Back to Declan Rice. Inside to Odegaard. Odegaard lifting it towards the area. Well dealt with there by Jay De Silva, stretching in. Miles Lewis Skelly. Zolas. Inside to Havertz, back to Gabriel. Just an ease on the eye for Arsenal. I have to say, a lot of times last season it was, I don't want to say it was boring, as Ellis Sims does well to hold up here, and see if 4 Arsenal shirts. He's got Rice to chase, and Ellis Sims had nowhere to go. That's what he's telling his teammates. There was nowhere for me to go. Dead end there for the Coventry number 9. Here's Calafiori. As I was saying, I don't want to say it was boring to watch Arsenal last season, but there was that lack of energy at times. They were just very ponderous and very kind of robotic at times with their play. Tonight, it's just been an injection of energy, an injection of vision, that quality and that uniqueness and imagination. And I think it's key that Martin Odegaard has played such a key role in that. His versatility of passing, such a difference maker. Creates so many good moments. Zolas, lovely. Finds Havertz. Try to get it onto his left there. Bobby Thomas with the step in. Puts it behind for the corner. Yeah, really good play again. Christos Zolas hugging the left touchline. Drives inside. Finds the run of Havertz in behind again. And Bobby Thomas comes across well to see it off and away for the corner. But Zolas has been a massive danger off that left. Certainly, as far as Premier League debuts go, it's only a goal that's missing from his game so far this evening. Declan Rice to take the corner. Right-footed delivery, it's narrow. Rushworth got his hands to it, it's not away though. Points it to the edge, Zolas will bobble out! And a Coventry defender there to clear it away again. Rushworth, too hot to handle for him. That shot from Christos Zolas. He parried a ball into danger earlier that led to the second Arsenal goal. Could have led to another Arsenal goal there, that one. Christos Zolas, though, again with the effort. See this again. Bounces down, it drops to Zolas here on the edge of the box. Struck it clean with his right foot. Right at Carl Rushworth, but came at him with such pace that he couldn't keep a hold of it. Bounces out into the path of danger. Ultimately dealt with and cleared away. With about 25 minutes to go, remains Arsenal 3, Coventry City 0. 3 different scorers for Arsenal. Kai Havertz, Bukayo Saka and Martin Odegaard. Oh, a loose pass there from Declan Rice. Allows Van Evijk to get on his bike. A bobbling ball towards Torp. Was cut out well by Mosquera, but spun round the corner by Onyeka. Brandon Thomas Asante here, off the left. Tried the cross, blocked by Whites. Will bobble back. Finds its way to De Silva. De Silva's cross. Dangerous. Calafiori clears. Bobby Thomas ready for the efforts, and that one is directed well wide of goal, and with no deflection to help it on its way. Goal kick is the decision. I mean, instant claim from Coventry that it should have been a corner. The referee said no, which VAR now have the ability to correct a decision if they deem it to be an incorrect call. Yes, goal kick. Maybe it slightly clipped off Mosquera, but it didn't look like it. Arsenal going to make a double substitution. Martin Zubimendi is going to be coming on. And I think it is also Noni Madueke who is readying himself. I think those are the 2 that are coming on here for Arsenal. They are. So Madueke and Zubimendi on, replacing Rice and Bukayo Saka. So straight swaps in their respective roles. Zubimendi replaces Rice in midfield, and Madueke replaces Bukayo Saka out in that right wing. Very promising World Cup from Noni Madueke. Started the World Cup on that right flank for England under Thomas Tuchel. Flick ball over the top here. Good run. Chance for Noni Madueke. Stepped in well again, did Bobby Thomas. Instantly into the action there, the England winger. Throw in from Arsenal, taken in by Madueke, trying to dribble his way through. He's got Amenda for company now. Back it comes here on the right hand side for Ben White. Lewis Skelly. Calafiori now to Zubamendi. Well, Arsenal have won their opening match in each of the last 4 Premier League seasons. Of course, since they lost to newly promoted Brentford 2-0 at the G-Tech back in the 2021-22 opening night. They've only won their first match in 5 in a row seasons once before in their league history, and that was between 2001-2 and 05-06. Looks like they're going to do that again, equal that record here this evening. We're going to see a double substitution here from Coventry. Going to see Taiwo Awoniyi, new signing this summer for Coventry from Nottingham Forest. Taiwo Awoniyi joined for £9 million. Taiwo Awoniyi on, as will Jack Redoni, earmarked by the Coventry squad as the manager's favourites. Jack Redoni, and there's a reason why. He is an absolute machine. He is beautiful to watch. Scored some wonderful goals last season for Coventry. He is on as well, and I think he has replaced Brandon Thomas Asante. So a double substitution there for Coventry City. Awoniyi battling Mosquera, goes down, holding his face. Taiwo Awoniyi, the referee sees no issue. He lets the game play, and Awoniyi slowly but surely back to his feet. 20 minutes to go on the clock. Here's Noni Madueke, wide on the right, onto his left, lifts it into the box, and too much on it. Behind for a goal kick. Didn't quite have the delivery there, Noni Madueke. There's a man he'll be playing on this field's Ezri Konsa. Confirmed as signing, £55 million from Aston Villa. Konsa can play centre-back and right-back, so a real addition to the back line of Arsenal. Not that they're in desperate need of it, but another great quality option to have here at the Emirates. Raya. Well, a reminder for you, more Premier League action on Sunday in our first doubleheader of the season. Man City take on Bournemouth at 2 o'clock. We'll have alongside that Brighton Aston Villa, also kicking off at 2 o'clock on Sunday, and that will be followed by Newcastle hosting Liverpool on Sunday. It'll be an emotional afternoon to open the season for those two clubs, of course, of the loss of Kevin Keegan over the off-season. So both clubs will share in that tribute on Sunday at 4:30 at St James's Park. Here's Noni Madueke. Square. Odegaard with the effort. Blocked by Bobby Thomas, who got his head in the way of that effort. Beautifully done, though, by Mosquera, and the crowd go to their feet in support of that in winning the ball back. Good efforts. Zolis. Wide to the left for Calafiori. Square to Lewis Skelly. Round the corner. Calafiori in chase. Rushworth was quick. He rushed out to that one with pace and got there ahead of Ricardo Calafiori. Beautiful ball by Miles Lewis Skelly, though. Some really beautiful stuff from Arsenal tonight. Oh, gorgeous football. It's great to have it back. It really is. It really is great to have it back. Yes, the World Cup is fabulous and all that, but when you're back to the bread and butter Premier League week in, week out. Top players, top teams, top managers, top football. Love it. Oof. Solis there. That was probably his worst touch of the night. A slice to see it out for a Coventry throw, deep in his own half. Milan Van Ewijk has a chance here. He was very keen with a long throw last season. One of the best at it in the Championship. What can Milan Van Ewijk provide here from the long throw? Lifts it in with ease into the area. Headed away cleanly by Mosquera. And Solis on chase. It will go out for another long throw. Milan Van Ewijk again to take for Coventry. Another attempt, take two. Van Ewijk into the area again. Left a little on at that time, a little shorter. And it's cleared away comfortably by Arsenal. Cycled back by Coventry to the back line. Here's Onyeka. Looking for the long diagonal. Flicked on. Bobby Thomas plucks it from the air beautifully. A lovely little flick round the corner. Looking for the run of Radoni, and the threat there from Awonyi forces Raya to clear it long. Good pressure from Coventry there. Using two of their substitutes, and Jack Radoni and Taiwo Awonyi to apply pressure to the back line of the Gunners. "15 minutes or so left on the clock. Arsenal cruising 3-0. Comfortably leading. Such ease. Bobby Thomas. Taken there by Onyeka. No foul to the referee, although he is now. Was initially playing advantage, the referee, but he's going to pull it back. There was no advantage. So a free kick to Coventry. Before that, though, substitution will be made by Arsenal. Double sub. Emirates Stadium and Mikel Merino. They're going to be coming on. We're going to see the replacement of Christos Solis, who gets a standing ovation from the home crowd of his debut performance in the Premier League for Arsenal. And the skipper as well gets a rousing round of applause as Eze and Merino come on. Odegaard and Solis make way. Now, not only is European champion Mikel Merino, but a champion of the world with his country in Spain, providing some crucial goals in the latter stages of the World Cup. Arsenal fans will remember that well, of what he did for them in key moments last season, coming up with great moments. Chow now with the ball. Little overhit towards Awonyi. They've shown glimpses, though, in this second half, Coventry, of a threat that can be made. I haven't been able to make it stick in the final third, but I wouldn't say promising signs, I would say positives to take from it. Little positives that they can take, but of course they'll know they'll need to be much better in attack to be a real threat across the season, but they will get more chances. They will create better opportunities. A tough opening night, shall we say, but they've shown some positives, to say the very least. Long ball here. Dangerous one. Will be picked up by Merino. Now Havertz wide to Madueke on the right. Madueke onto his left. Finds it back here to Zubamendi. Trying to lift it into the area. Bobby Thomas with the clean header to clear it away. Torp beaten on the ball there. Madueke linking up 1-2 with Havertz. Round the corner. This is nice. Here is Merino. He's got Eze in front of him. Merino wanted to go himself there. Blocked by Jay De Silva. And Radoni comes out with the ball here. Jack Radoni going long. Looking for the run of Taiwo Awonyi. Takes it in well, Awonyi. Beautiful take in. That's what they need up there, Coventry. A man who can take it down with ease. Settle with the ball. And allow players to work off the back of it. It's exactly what they need. And that's what Taiwo Awonyi's been able to provide since he's come on to the field. Rushworth. Long kick out to the right flank, taken well by Caoimhan. Of course, as well, Monday night, I'll be doing my predictions for the season. So do tune in for that on Monday night before Fulham-Chelsea to see what my predictions are for the season, who I have as my champions, who I want have to be relegated, and of course, everything in between. So we'll bring that all to you on Monday night for that one. To really bring a close to the opening weekends. We'll have a full splattering of the Premier League results to bring to you. Long ball there from David Raya. Bouncing ball. Lovely take by Radoni. Loose there, Victor Torp. He challenges in here for the ball off Zubamendi, but Martin Zubamendi did very well there, holding him off. Yeah, you have to give them credit, Coventry, at times as well. They've given it a very good go. Okay, of course, avoidable moments. I think the second and third goals are very avoidable moments, but they'll know that, and they'll work on that, I'm sure. But I don't think they've been... I mean, I think Arsenal have eased off since they went to 3-0. I think they've settled a little bit. They've just managed the game, Arsenal. They've not overcooked themselves too early, shall we say. They've not kind of blown the steam off the thing in the first game. They've been calmly in control right the way throughout. They've played some really nice stuff, but they haven't gone overboard, if you know what I mean. And I think there will be positives that Frank Lampard will take out of this game. He will know that if his goalkeeper didn't palm it into danger for the second goal, that would have been a good moment denied from Arsenal. If the goalkeeper was able to make the save in the third one, again, it's just little tweaks, little moments that if it had gone their way, Coventry, this could be a one-goal game at this point. Now, to caveat that with the fact that, as I said, with Arsenal being further ahead, they're not going to push for that next goal as much. So there isn't that cutting edge of that kind of endeavour for Arsenal to go full throttle at it at 3-0. So caveat it with that. But also I'd take into account that even when that Arsenal were very much in front and pushing, Coventry did show some good moments. It's just unfortunate that those are little moments that went in Arsenal's favour just because of the experience and the quality they have. That's the little tweaks and differences. But again, if they continue in the same vein over the season, Coventry, and continue to improve, I think there's some positive signs from this Coventry team. And the scoreline can look glaring and look really damaging, but again, it's about the performance, and I think the performance I don't think has been awful from Coventry, shall we say. Marino. They did make another change there, Arsenal, by the way. Piero and Capier did come on for Ricardo Calafiori. Here is Madueke. Gabriel's going to hit one. That one's going to carry it over the crossbar. With a goal kick. Wouldn't have minded him having a goal there. He's in my fantasy team, of course. As we're going to see another Coventry change. This will be their final change of the game, if I'm not mistaken. It will. Their fourth change and their final change. Gus Hamer is going to be coming on. A Premier League player with Sheffield United previously. So Gus Hamer on to replace Laum Caoimhan. Well, Coventry's focus will be undoubtedly on next Saturday, league-wise anyway, when they have their first home game in the Premier League for 25 years. They take on, of course, fellow newly promoted team Hull City at the CBS Arena next Saturday, 3 o'clock. Two newly promoted sides face off so early in the season and so crucial to get points on the board so early in the campaign. We saw it last season with the newly promoted teams. If they can get that early win against each other, it could be so crucial to building momentum and building confidence for the season. Of course, the first two away games of the season, Coventry, are awfully difficult. The top two from last season, Arsenal and Man City, away from home in their first two trip games in the Premier League. Not an easy start. That's probably even more so why that game against Hull next weekend will be so crucial. to get 3 points. Of course, Hull will feel exactly the same way. It'll be so crucial for them to get 3 points in that one as well, against a fellow newly promoted team. Certainly for Arsenal, it doesn't get it easier for them. They head to Aston Villa next weekend. That's a game on Monday night next week. So in 10 days' time. So a real trip, a real break in things between now and their next game, Arsenal. 10 days. And then they are back here 6 days later when they take on Chelsea in their first London derby of the season. So 2 tough ones to come for the reigning champions. Here's Awonyi. A rare foray forward. He's on his own up there for the moment. Taiwo Awonyi is forced backwards, but he does well to get them up the field. Victor Torp. Harmer. Radoni back to Harmer. Wide to the left for Da Silva. Now Radoni. Good play this. Coventry. Jack Radoni sliding in for a challenge that was emerging from Madweki. Held on to the ball, and as do Coventry. 5 minutes of normal time to go. Arsenal 3, Coventry City 0. Harmer couldn't squeeze that one through. That one was, though. Torp couldn't, in the end, find Jack Radoni off the back of his pass. And Menda does well to break that apart from Zubamendi's pass. Down the left comes Victor Torp. Bit of space. Torp with the early cross. Jack Radoni in the box. Right down the throat of David Raya. Really good combination, though. Lovely from Victor Torp. Find the space, find the ball, find the run. Jack Radoni peeling off all the space and time that he could have asked for. Beautiful ball in by Victor Torp. And Jack Radoni just kind of bounced off his forehead. Didn't carry the pace. Decent chance. Best chance of the game for Coventry. Into the hands of David Raya, though. Zubamendi. Of course, this is the first match between these two at the Emirates since 2012, when Coventry lost 6-1 in the League Cup, and the last time they met overall was in the FA Cup back in 2014, when Arsenal won 4-0. So big scoreline wins against Coventry in the last 2 meetings in cup competitions for the Gunners. Only 2 teams have won their first ever league match at the ground, including Arsenal. West Ham in 2007, April 2007, and Hull City in September 2008. The first ever league match, shall I say, at the Emirates. And they've had an incredible record against newly promoted teams, Arsenal. Since the start of the 23-24 campaign, they've won 17 of their 18 Premier League games against newly promoted opposition, Arsenal. The only exception to that was a 2-2 draw against newly promoted Sunderland at the Stadium of Light last season. At home, the Gunners are unbeaten in 45 Premier League home games against newly promoted teams, the longest such run by any team in the competition's history. Of those 45 that are unbeaten, they have won 40 of those games. Incredible record. And they hold a record, Coventry, This is their first Premier League match in 25 years and 94 days. They won a free kick here. Taiwo Awoniyi was fouled as he was trying to break through off the back of Gus Hamer's pass. Will be a free kick here to Coventry. Yeah, good play down the left again. Ball found into Hamer's path, and Awoniyi just breaking off that left. Taken down by Christian Mosquera. Arms in the air from Frank Lampard, saying that it is clearly a foul, and a foul it is. And a free kick here for Coventry City. I'll get back to that stat in a moment for you. Can they snatch a goal to deny Arsenal an opening night clean sheet? They were very close with Jack Radoni a few minutes ago. Let's see what they've got on offer from this set piece. Torp to take. Right-footed, lofted very deep, and that one's very deep indeed, too deep. Out for a goal kick from Victor Torp. As I was saying, Coventry's first Premier League match in 25 years and 94 days. That's the longest gap between games by a side in the competition's history. They lost their last 7 away league games against the reigning top-flight champions, most recently going down to Man United in April 2001 by 4-2. 25 years and 94 days. As the Premier League celebrating its 35th season. The start of this campaign, so I mean it's what, 3/5 of the Premier League's history they've been away. 4 added minutes at the end of the 90 here. Here comes Havertz! Right down the throat of the goalkeeper. And Carl Rushworth. Actually, sorry, it was Mikel Merino. Havertz started the build-up. Badaweki then found Mikel Merino. Clipped onto his left and tried to find the corner. Good save by Carl Rushworth down to his left-hand side. Finds Lewis Skelly. Couldn't squeeze that one through. Well cut out by the right winger there, Frank Onyeka, playing that role for the moment. Here's Jack Radoni. Going to direct that one through, prodding it. Right idea, just couldn't get it quick enough, Taiwo Awoniyi, before it rolled out for a goal kick to Arsenal. Yeah, they've got invention, they've got ideas, Coventry, but it's about executing. Frank Lampard will know that. He has experience before. Of course, managed Chelsea in 2 different spells. And very close to getting Derby to the Premier League from the Championship, but he's been able to conquer Coventry. And they conquered the Championship. And they're up and fighting amongst the big boys once again for the first time in 25 years. A whole generation of Coventry City fans. This is their first ever glimpse of their team in the Premier League. And of course, Coventry, they'll be earmarking some key games this season. Of course, this was their first big one away at the champions. Of course, they'll head to Man City in a few weeks. Of course, not long down the line, a trip to Spurs in that beautiful stadium. Man United away is in early December for them. A trip to Anfield on the 2nd of January as well. Home games against Aston Villa and Chelsea around Christmas time as well. And their final game of the season is at home against Nottingham Forest. Coventry, of course, in that back end, they will host Man United, Arsenal in the back end of the campaign. So some very exciting matchups and some very intriguing dates to put in the diary of those Coventry City fans. They will lap every week of this up, because you never know when it will come back for you. It's precious, Premier League football. Seeing their team on Match of the Day for the first time in 25 years and hearing that wonderful music in around about 24 hours time, and seeing their team, albeit in a losing fashion, but just to see their team involved once again is what this Premier League and what football is all about. Here's Miles Lewis Skelly. Last minute of the 94. On what has been a breeze of a night for the reigning champions. They're the favourites coming into the campaign to retain the title for a reason. And they've shown some of their best qualities here this evening. More to come, I'm sure. Here's Eza. Might have one last gasp attempt. Add to the scoreline. We'll get a free kick here, though. Kai Havertz brought down by Victor Torp. Last 20, 30 seconds of the game. Reminder for you, Man City Bournemouth, our next offering from the Premier League on Sunday at 2 o'clock here in LFS. Followed by Newcastle Liverpool, and then Monday night Fulham Chelsea rounds off the opening weekend of the Premier League season at Craven Cottage. Free kick here for Arsenal, about 30 odd yards out. This is the last kick of the game, surely. As from distance, well off targets. And there's the final whistle. So Coventry off and running in the new season, as are the champions, who have got 3 points on the board already. 3 goals, a clean sheet, a perfect start to the defence of their title for Mikel Arteta's side. Flexing their muscles at times tonight. Kai Havertz sweeping in for 1, Saka pouncing for 2. And Odegaard bobbling for 3. A real hat-trick of great goals tonight for Arsenal. And you have to say, a perfect start to the new campaign. They played some beautiful stuff tonight. There's more to come, I'm sure. And some tough ties on the horizon. Some tough games to come in the next few weeks. For Coventry, there are positives to take. Some moments in that second half where there was a lot of bright sparks. But against the reigning champions, it was always going to be a mountain to climb and a tough task on opening night. They can take some positives. Forget about the result. It's the performance they can take from. And Frank Lampard and his team can be proud of their display this evening and their chances. But overall, the quality of the champions shone through. The Gunners off the mark, and the defence of their title is already begun. And they've perfectly started the new season. Final score on the opening night of the new season. It is finished Arsenal, the champions, 3, Coventry City 0. And that's game 1 of 380 on the board in this season. Lots to look forward to across the campaign. 9 more games to come. 5 tomorrow, 3 on Sunday, 1 on Monday. Lots to look forward to. A quick look at those tomorrow lunchtime. Man United head to newly promoted Hull at the MKM Stadium. It's Everton Palace, Ipswich Sunderland and Leeds heading to Forest all at 3 o'clock tomorrow, before a trip to London for a London derby between Brentford and Spurs, 5:30 tomorrow evening. Then on Sunday, we're back for you to cover the Sunday games. Brighton take on Aston Villa at 2, as well as our feature game for the commentary on Sunday at 2 o'clock. Man City taking on Bournemouth. 2 new managers there. 2 new managers at St James's Park as Newcastle take on Liverpool at 4:30 on Sunday. And 2 new managers in our London derby on Monday night to conclude the opening weekend as Fulham take on Chelsea at Craven Cottage. A reminder for you, Man City Bournemouth for you Sunday at 2 o'clock here on LFS. But they're off the mark in the perfect fashion, Arsenal. The champions off and running, 3 points, 3 goals, a clean sheet. I mean, they're off to the perfect start. There's no better way to start the new season. Thanks for your company tonight. We'll see you on Sunday for a double header. The night. Arsenal are the champions.